Hello everyone. So today we are going to learn about language and the various definition of language. As we all know, language is at the core of human communication. It is how we express ideas, share emotions, and connect with one another. In today's lecture, we'll explore different perspectives of language, unraveling its complexity and significance. Let's start with the first definition. Language is a simple system based on pure or arbitrary conventions, infinitely extendable and modifiable according to the changing needs and conditions of the speakers. So, this definition is given by Robbins in the year 1985. According to this definition, language is a simple system. The system talked of here is purely arbitrary in the sense that there is no one to one correspondence between the structure of a word and the thing it stands for. For example, let us take the combination of letters PEN. So in English, PEN stands for an instrument used for writing. Why could it not be EPN or NEP? So, well, it could also be EPN or NEP. There is nothing important about it. But PEN has now become a convention that cannot be easily changed. As stated here, language conventions are not easily changed and it is impossible to do so. So that is why language is infinitely modifiable and extendable. So words go on changing meanings and new words continue to be added to language with the changing needs of the community using it. So this definition it says where language is arbitrary and it is extendable as well as modifiable. Okay, moving on to the next definition. Language is purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of a system of voluntarily produced symbols by Sapir in 1921. Here, let us take the word non-instinctive. It means language does not pass from a parent to a child. A child has to learn language and he or she learns the language of the society where he or she is placed in. So that is why language is non-instinctive and it is purely human because only human possess language and all normal humans we uniformly possess it. Animals also have a communication system but it is not a developed system like a human language. So that is why language is said to be species specific and species uniform. Moving on to the next definition. Language is the institution whereby humans communicate and interact with each other by means of habitually used oral auditory symbols by Hall in 1969. So this particular definition, it rightly gives more prominence to the fact that language is primarily speech produced by oral auditory symbols. Exactly. A speaker produces some strings of oral sounds that get conveyed through the air to the listener who through his hearing organs receives the sound waves and convey these to the brains that interprets these symbols to arrive at a meaning. So that is exactly what language is according to Hall. Next definition. A language is a set of sentences, each finite in length and constructed out of finite set of elements by Noam Chomsky in the year 1957. So Chomsky meant to convey that each sentence has a structure. So human brain is competent enough to construct different sentences from out of limited set of sounds or symbols which is belonging to a particular language. So human brain is so productive that a child can at any time produce a sentence that has been never heard or said earlier. So a human brain is capable enough to produce n number of sentences out of a limited set of words or a limited set of alphabets. Moving on to the next definition. A language is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates by block and trigger. So this particular definition, it offers a unique perspective, seeing language as a means of social cooperation. It is not just about expressing ourselves, whereas it is a tool for collaboration within social groups. So language in this view, it is a system of symbols facilitating cooperation among a society. Next definition. Language is undoubtedly a kind of means of communication among human beings. It consists primarily of vocal sounds. It is articulatory, symbolic, and arbitrary. It's given by Derbyshire in 1967. Derbyshire, he accepts that language is the property of human beings and that it is primarily speech, whereas he brings out the point that it is an important means of communication amongst humans. Imagine before the start of civilization, man might have used language of signs, but it must have had a very limited scope where language is a fully developed means of communication with the civilized man who can convey and receives millions of messages across the universe. So we all know an entire civilization itself depends on language only. So just imagine, just think of a world without language. Man would only continue to be a denizen of the forest and the caves, whereas language has changed the entire gamut of human relations, and it has made it possible for human beings to grow into a human community on this planet. So it is clearly evident from all these definitions, where none of which is completely defining what language is. It is true that it is not possible to have a single definition that brings out all the properties of language. So, on the basis of these definitions, one can, however, list out various characteristics of languages. So, about various characteristics of languages, we will definitely see it in the next class. Before that, I have given a few questions here where this assessment is designed to gauge your understanding of the key concepts that has been discussed. So try to answer these questions. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.